What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is Preview Picks, the show where I go over the books that are coming out on Wednesday, give you an idea what they're all about, and whether there's something to talk to your shop about or not. What we're going to do is we're going to start with the independent titles, and it's really pretty a light week for independent titles, but the big two that are coming out are Image's Wicked and the Divine number 25, which continues on with the Imperial Phase story arc. So this is always a staple in a lot of independent collectors' and readers' hands, so it's definitely one that I'd recommend checking out if you haven't had the chance yet. Also from Image, we have Black Science number 27 by Rick Remender, and this is the second book in a new arc for this series, so it's one of those things where Rick Remender's doing a lot of really good work on all of his independent titles, so it's a highly recommended book from me. When we jump over to DC, I have a reluctant recommendation, and that is Justice League number 12. So I haven't been a fan of the main Justice League title, however, there are two factors that kind of get me on this one. First, it's a tie-in to the Justice League vs. Suicide Squad series, and it's kind of being billed as a Max Lord rebirth issue, and the second is that it's being written by Tim Seeley instead of Brian Hitch, so that's got me really kind of excited for where the potential of this story goes. We also have Harley Quinn number 11, which is Joker Loves Harley, which is a brand new, I think it's like a two-part story arc, and that's going to be pretty interesting because the Joker hasn't really made any kind of resurgence in DC Rebirth up until now. And then we have Green Arrow number 14, which continues the Emerald Outlaw story arc, and this is where we see the antagonist Archer, the one that's been dragging Oliver Queen's name through the mud, kind of come out and reveal himself. So that's a really interesting part of this story arc, and I'm really excited to see who it actually is. Then we have Green Lanterns number 14, which continues on with the Phantom Ring story arc, and we finally got to the point where I think that this guy that's being controlled by Volthoom, is at critical mass, and he's about to blow. So I wonder what's going to happen when that hits the fan. Next we have Justice League vs. Suicide Squad number 3, and if you read the last issue, which was just last week, because these things are coming out bang, 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 you kind of have an idea where this one's going to be going, and that's a really interesting setup to see where it kind of goes from here. Nightwing number 12 continues on with the Bloodhaven story arc, and if we kind of pick up where we last left off, essentially Orca is going to be kind of a big player in this, and you can kind of see that in the overall cover scheme of this. The Whalers and the gang that she commands down in Bloodhaven, they're going to find out a thing or two about Nightwing in this issue. While still dealing with the extended Bat family, we hop over to Batman number 14, which has got art by Mitch Gerrards, and it's really the epilogue to the I Am Suicide arc. And if you take a look at this cover, there's a pretty serious indication as to what this is all about. It is all about Bruce and Selina, or at least that's the hope. So we're going to see where that goes in this particular issue. Then we have Superman number 14, which starts up the Multiplicity story arc. So this is about multiverse hopping Supermen. So basically Supermen from all kinds of alternate realities are going to be targeted by an individual, and this is going to be really exciting because it leads up into probably one of the biggest Superman stories, which is going to be happening in like the February-March timeframe. Everything's going to start hitting the fan for Superman, so I'm really excited about where this is going to be going. We go on to another book, which is a brand new number 1, and that is The Life and Death of Captain Atom. And the word on the street is that Captain Atom is going to play a big role in DC's Rebirth, so I'm really excited to see where this one goes. I can't believe I left it out of my 9 comics to watch in January, but don't sleep on this one. However, there is a book I did put in my 9 for January, and that is the Justice League of America Rebirth series, and this one is going to be about the Atom, and this one is Ryan Choi. So this is going to be Steve Orlando telling the story of these characters before they officially partner up in the Justice League of America book, so it's one that you've got to read. Once we make our way over to Marvel, we have Nova number 2, where Richard Rider is officially going to be meeting Sam Alexander, so that's going to be pretty interesting to see how old Nova and new Nova really meet up and kind of coexist. Hawkeye number 2 is getting her second issue, so Kate Bishop is her private investigator self in Southern California, and to be honest with you, it didn't necessarily hit home with me on the first issue, but maybe the second will treat me a little bit better. Avengers number 3 continues with the Kang War, and with the Unstoppable Wasp really kind of spinning her way back through time, trying to take this baby back to when Vision stole it from. We kind of see the rest of the Avengers getting caught up in this fractured timeline, and I'm not really 100% sold on where Avengers is going, so it's probably one of the last issues I'm going to read unless it can really hook me on this one. Andrea Sorrentino is also back on Old Man Logan number 16, so this is going to be a really good book to hop back on. I am a little bit hesitant to recommend books beyond this because if you're stuck on Sorrentino's art, there is some kind of stuff in the solicitations that's showing that she might not be doing regular issues going forward, so that's kind of a concern of mine as well. However, there is a book that I have no concerns about, and that is Moon Knight number 10. So Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood are starting off an arc that is going to define the characteristics and backstory of Mark Spector. So Mark Spector was born in Chicago, but where are some of his alter egos from? And this is going to be him kind of fleshing out all the backstory of Moon Knight, and it could become kind of a retcon machine for the Moon Knight character, so I'm really interested to see where this one goes. Champions number 4 also is going to kick off, and if it's anything like Champions number 1 and Champions number 3, it's going to be dealing with a much more socially conscious aspect, much more socially conscious conflict, and it's really going to be kind of bringing these teammates together. Also, Mark Waid teased that when Viv kind of went and made out with the Hulk, she wasn't necessarily the same kind of character that we recognize from the Vision storyline from Tom King, and that Champions number 4, this issue, is going to shed a little bit more light on that. So I'm really interested to see what that is really about. However, one of the biggest books coming out from Marvel this week has to be Unworthy Thor number 3. When we last saw Thor, he was part of the Collector's Collection, and he's really kind of so close to the ultimate Mjolnir, but he hasn't been able to grasp it and reclaim his power. And if the cover's any kind of indication, Beta Ray Bill is going to be coming for him. However, he might not necessarily end up on the same side. So is this the Asgardian versus the Stormbreaker? I don't know, but it's a really interesting concept, and I'd love to see it play out that way. In new number 1s from Marvel, though, we have Unstoppable Wasp number 1, where Nadia Pym, a child of the Red Room, kind of goes out there, and she is a super genius teenager that is looking to kind of prove herself as the Wasp, and I'm really excited about that one. However, U.S. Avengers is probably my top pick for new number 1 books this week, because I like Al Ewing's writing, and it seems like it's going to be a really fun, rambunctious team. You've got such a kind of weird combination of people that are making this up, and then you get Everett Ross's Red Hulk complete with mustache. So this is going to be something pretty special. I'm really excited to see where this one goes. So those are all the books that I'm thinking about picking up this Wednesday, but I want to know what you guys are thinking about grabbing too, so hit me up in the comments down below and we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe right there to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.